Previously on In the Footsteps of the Franklins.
It was somewhere around here Burns wrote that Calder actually found a skeleton. So Burns Plains are these plains right here, not 5 kilometers over that way.
Which means one thing. The grand vista this morning is on.
Oh my God. It's time for a dramatic change of vegetation. We're going to be saying goodbye to all of this stuff, the button grass shrub, and it's all forest now until I get to the Loddon Plains, which will be probably tomorrow. There is a small plain just on the side of this hill. In fact, that's probably it, right down there. It runs for about a kilometre up alongside the Franklin, and that's called Wombat Glen. And it was down there that the party had their day 2 camp, and somewhere in the vicinity down there, Calder found some items in a tree stump. There was a pea jacket, a hamlet, and a couple of other things, and they were from convicts who'd escaped from Macquarie Harbour. So I'll be passing through there this morning, and then onwards to the Surprise River and through the forests of the Loddon Valley towards the Loddon Plains. Must be out of my damn mind leaving this view, but I gotta get out of here. It's 8:30 and I got a long day ahead. So I'm just making my way slowly down the hill, and I stopped to have a bit of a breather, and I could smell this overpowering lemon smell. And this plant right here, I took a bit off and crushed it, and it's insanely potent. Actually, it's kind of like insect repellent versus lemon. Really strong smell. And this is a plant that Franklin's party described in the book. I'm not sure of the name of it, but it's cool to have come across the same one. I think I've just stumbled across TB Moore's track, the Linda track. So this was the access from Hobart to Queenstown. Yeah, that's got to be it. It's cut out. Holy crap, that's insane. Look at it. Wow. Well, I guess I'll follow this, and hopefully the scrub's not too bad. I mean, the reason that it's still here in this condition is because of the forest is open, and it's allowed for the it's allowed for it to just stay in its semi-natural state. How cool is this? Walking along the Linda track. Wasn't that long ago, maybe, yeah, 100 years ago, people would have been coming through here on horses. I think it actually finished at Heemskirk, where the tin fields were. But yeah, there's still a part of it left. Unreal. So this creek here It must have been tried by hundreds of prospectors on their way through. Definitely all the quartz here and all the bed. But more importantly, it would have been a refuel station for water, because coming up Mount Arrowsmith there's nothing, which is exactly what I'm going to do now. Here's a message from Parks and Wildlife Tasmania. Instead of spending millions of dollars on these commercialised visitor centres that literally no one wants in our state, why don't you just hire someone with an electric chainsaw that can come out here and clean up a piece of history? I'll draft up a couple of signs, fill them in, and then people could literally off the highway walk up to Calder's Lookout in like an hour and a half or so. I don't know, it's just a thought. It's sitting out here, all the cutouts are done. All it needs is just to be kind of cleaned up with a chainsaw and raked a bit. Easy. I've snapped off Moore's track. The contour wasn't really that good for me, and the scrub. If I'd have followed it, I would have taken a very long round way down to the bottom. It was more or less designed for horses. So I'm at a point now where I can pretty much just go straight down the hill and then I'll be at Wombat Glen. I just got about 500 meters or so. This stuff here is not too bad. It's just really slippery underfoot. Give me a worse combination. Bowra and spiderwebs. Not fun. It's gotten ridiculously thick through here. You can see the light though from the plains. Step by step, plant by plant, getting it done. That's that. Just busted out from the cutting grass and the button grass begins. Sometimes you just got to stop and dry out for a second and have a breather. It's beautiful country through here. Back when they would have walked it, this would have all been just like a grassy field, because Aboriginal fire farming was only just basically stopped. I think a couple of years earlier, George Robinson came through and collected most of the Aborigines and took them to Flinders.
I crossed over the Wombat Glen and began making my way to the Surprise River, which I would shortly cross and begin my leg to the Painters Plains. Now, on the topic of the Painters Plains, I must inform you of its historic importance and why I believe it is where it is. Painters Plains were named by Calder, who while cutting the track through here came across 2 bark Aboriginal huts, and inside the huts he found artworks. Calder describes the drawings as 2 men spearing what appeared to be a kangaroo, along with an emu and a dog, which I can only imagine was a thylacine. Calder wrote, "The place, after the contemplation of these unique designs, was henceforward styled Painters Plains, a name which I hope future travellers have the good sense to recognise it by." When looking to locate the plains, I first followed Burns' lead from Surprise River, which he recorded crossing at 9:30 AM, then following the banks of the Franklin they turned southwest, passing through Stringy Bark Forest at 9:52 and Myrtle Forest at 10:10 before arriving at the plains at 10:20. Another clue is that Calder writes the plains are bounded on the right hand by high hills of impure quartz. You see, this hill over here, Artist Hill, This is in memory of the Aboriginals whose artwork was found. But the party never crossed the Franklin in its upper reaches, and this hill is miles away from the real plains. This plain right here ticks all three boxes. Firstly, it passes through the direction the party was headed to the Loddon Plains. Second, it has the high hill of Quartz on the right. And third, the vegetation between the plains and Surprise River is Nordophagus or myrtle and Eucalyptus delegatensis or stringy bark. So here we are at the majestic Surprise River, and this was named Surprise River by Calder in 1840 when he was cutting the track to Macquarie Harbour, because he kept bumping into the Franklin with the track cutting, and it was just too big of a stream that he was trying to avoid it, and came in a little bit easterly and found this, and it was a surprise, and this was the river that they used for the crossing ever since. And another cool little fact is, when I did my first overnight hike down to the Jane, I actually used this in a way to avoid crossing the Franklin, which is where the old track used to go. And it's the exact same thing that Calder did like 180 years before. So it's sweet. Let's cross it. It's very low today. I've seen this river in flood, and it's been all the way up to that log, which is enough to absolutely send you down to Macquarie Harbour faster than you can scream, "Please save me." So this part of the forest I'm quite familiar with. Every Jane trip I've ever done, I've used this part of the forest. After crossing Surprise River, you've got this kind of open myrtle forest for about 500 metres until you get to the Jane River track. Now, I'm not going to be using the Jane River track today because that heads around this hill more or less south, and I want to head southwest towards Painters Plains. So about the same time when I hit the Jane River track, I'll be diverting southwest across to the plains. So this tree here is a stringy bark, which is a great sign because Byrne described going through stringy bark, then myrtle, then stringy bark to the Painters Plains. So we've already got couple of stringy barks popping up. Definitely on the right path. We've got heaps of myrtles have been going past, and then we've also got the stringy bark over here. That one's been zapped. This is how quickly it changes from forest Bowra and tea tree. Tell you what though, it's a pretty good exit. May as well, pretty well just walk straight onto it. Cool. Painters Plains, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not too sure whereabouts, because the only clue given was that a few of the members of the party went to see the hut. But somewhere around here, the two Aboriginal bark huts were. Most likely close to a water source, so I'm gonna walk straight through the creek and suss it out. Sometimes you get these little spots where you've got like some eucalypt or some sort of gum that's growing on like a harder flat surface, and there's a possibility that the huts might have been in an area like that, because I can't see them being up on the Quartz Hills, and
it seems like the party made a detour to go visit them, so I also can't see them being too close to where the track was. I found the small reel, a little creek down there draining the plains, and just like an area like this, I mean, it probably doesn't look like much on GoPro, but it's quite protected. It's overgrown, but it's really flat, and I don't know, if it was cleaned up, I'd live here. I can't spend too much time looking for the exact site, but this is something that I would imagine they would have lived in. Somewhere flat, close to the water, still protected by wind from the trees, which they're surrounded by in this spot. Yeah, all right, I've got to keep moving. Oh my goodness. That's a lot of mud. Oh, this is a friggin' nightmare. I've trapped myself in this maze of tea tree. But like, I've been in here for the last hour and it hasn't stopped. It's meant to be button grass now. I tried going out far to the left of the creek. I'm just probably, I don't know. I know the blue line is probably the worst of it, but I'm not even sure if anything on my left hand side is in fact open, because I never checked it on the satellite phone, on the satellite image. So that's my predicted line. I would have checked that with the satellite, so I'm just going to bash over to that. I think in the long run it'll be faster than this. This is absolute hell right here. I made it out. It's not that clear out here, but it must have been the clearest path, and that's why I decided to put that line through when I was looking at the satellite images. Oh, so the game plan now that I've passed through Painters Plains is to make my way to the Loddon Valley. So I'm going to be going the old route, which is a few kilometers east of the new route that everyone else takes. And I don't know if I'll make the plains today or if I'll have to wait till tomorrow. Ouch. Just tore out half my hair. Oh, the joys of bush bashing. So I haven't got much time left in the afternoon. It's 3:30. I probably need to have camp set up by 5:30. The plan was to ascend from Painters Plains up through Myrtle Forest, through a pass up there, then drop into part of the Loddon Plains. They're not the real Loddon Plains, but it's like a subsection that no one has ever seen except for a couple of explorers. From there, I've got to go through the Loddon River, and then I'm onto the real Loddon Plains that the Frenchmans Cap is on. The Frenchmans Cap track is on. Today, what I'm thinking is ascend up here and maybe set up camp at Barbara Creek, or maybe, if I've got time, push on to this little tributary of the Loddon River. Yeah, the scrub is not good, but I'm just gonna follow any open patches that I can and make corrections for them when I get higher up on the hill, and hopefully it thins out. My first real myrtle. Hopefully that's a sign of things to come. Looks pretty good. Man ferns, open forest. I like it. 300 meters to go where my suggested line hits Barbara Creek, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be myrtle forest. It's nothing like an entree of Bower before dinner. Almost there. I've got about 150 meters to go into the creek, and then camp time. Please change vegetation. It looks like this is camp for the night. I haven't found the water, so I'm just leaving that there, and I'll go for a walk through this, see if I can locate it. If not, find a better camp spot. But I'm out of sunlight. I need somewhere to pull up. If I don't find water, I've got probably just enough to get me out of trouble. There's a leader there, but there should be a creek, and I don't think that that's the creek there, although it might have dried up. Yeah, I'm not seeing or hearing any creek, and I can't really stray too far from camp, so that sucks. Just been sitting here staring at this map for about half an hour. I'm trying to figure out if I've got time to do this. The thing is, I just got a weather forecast update, and today's Sunday, and the next 4 days are fine. But Friday is going to be 15 to 25 mil, and Saturday is 15 to 25 mil. I'm just trying to figure out whereabouts I'll be. Like, I'm positive that tomorrow I'll come down off Barbara Creek onto the Loddon Plains here, through the Loddon River, and then follow the Loddon Plains down to Detention Corner. I reckon I can do that tomorrow. That'll be Monday. And then Tuesday I should be able to do Detention Corner through Calder Pass, try and find the real Christmas rock. Wednesday would be, it's hard to say because these plains, like on satellite, look pretty bad. But let's say worst case scenario is Wednesday I only make it to, say, the front of Milligan's Falls. And then Thursday I'll be in the Glowworm Valley, Glowworm Forest. Maybe it's fine. I'll be climbing out of the Glowworm Forest, and we're following that down the Acheron River in the rain, coming up through White Hill Plain in the rain, following that up through here and then down to Calder Ferry in the rain, and then who knows. But from there I've only got to get to Western Plains and then south onto Eagle Creek Track somewhere down here, home to Expectation Reach. Or I can sit out a day. That's a possibility as well. I'll just have a day where I don't do anything. It's really hard because we're going into winter now, and I really wanted to have this trip done to go in there, and I've been so busy with weddings and stuff that I haven't been able to get like a good window. So I don't want to give this up, but I also don't want to be selfish about it and like, yeah, push myself beyond my limits.
Next time on In the Footsteps of the Franklins.
Because I believe that it's still out there. You can see this game trail that runs through here. They're quite small, 5 digits. This looks like a pretty good spot. If I don't, I'll never ever forgive myself.